In a dramatic escalation, elements linked to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps appear to have targeted a U.S. airbase in retaliation, signaling a direct and provocative strike meant to send a clear message to Washington and alter the strategic calculus on the ground. Long, arcing contrails from ballistic missiles cut across the sky as Iran mounts a retaliatory operation, demonstrating both the speed and seriousness of its response while raising the risk of broader escalation across the region. With reports suggesting Kuwait permitted U.S. strikes against Iranian targets, the country now faces renewed attacks and political blowback, exposing Gulf states to direct security consequences when they host or enable foreign military actions. A fresh wave of fear and uncertainty is sweeping the Middle East as a delicate ceasefire unravels, leaving populations and governments bracing for renewed hostilities that could quickly spiral beyond local borders. The strategic contest for dominance of the Strait of Hormuz has flared back to life following a bold move attributed to Mojtaba, a flashpoint action that challenges U.S. influence and risks disrupting a critical global shipping choke point.
The strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it.
The IRGC said on May 28 that it targeted a U.S. airbase in response to what it described as a hostile attack, framing the operation as a direct reprisal meant to signal Tehran's unwillingness to tolerate strikes against its interests. Press TV reported that the strike was announced in a statement published by the IRGC, which laid out the group's rationale and attempted to justify the action as a measured, intentional response rather than an impulsive escalation. The IRGC said the attack took place at 4:50 a.m. and described it as a serious warning, using precise timing and stark language to emphasize the message was deliberate and meant to deter further actions. Iran stated that the strike was retaliation for an earlier U.S. military action near Bandar Abbas, portraying the operation as part of a tit-for-tat cycle meant to punish what Tehran called unlawful or provocative conduct. The IRGC warned that any further U.S. aggression would be met with a stronger response, signaling a commitment to escalate proportionally if it perceives continued threats, and underscoring the danger of a widening confrontation. The IRGC said, and I quote, "Following the U.S. military's pre-dawn attack today using aerial projectiles on a site near Bandar Abbas Airport, the American airbase from which the attack originated was targeted at 4:50 a.m. This response is a serious warning to the enemy that any act of aggression will not go unanswered, and, if repeated, our response will be even more decisive. The aggressor bears full responsibility for the consequences." Unquote. Kuwait activated air defenses after what it called hostile missile and drone threats, scrambling military radar and interceptor systems to protect key infrastructure and population centers as authorities assessed incoming risks. The Kuwaiti military said blast sounds heard on May 28 were caused by air defense systems, explaining that interceptors and countermeasures detonated in the sky as part of a defensive response rather than from strikes on the ground. The incident came as Middle East tensions surged again following fresh U.S. strikes in Iran, adding another volatile chapter to a cycle of retaliatory actions that has heightened regional alarm and diplomatic strain. The latest exchange marks another sharp escalation in U.S.-Iran tensions amid a fragile truce, underscoring how quickly a tenuous ceasefire can fray and how proximate states are drawn into the wider security fallout. Fresh U.S. strikes reportedly targeted a suspected Iranian military site overnight as tensions continue escalating across the Gulf region. American officials claimed the targeted Iranian site posed a direct threat to U.S. forces and shipping through Hormuz. Reuters reported the latest American military action on May 27, citing a senior official speaking anonymously about the operation. The fresh strikes came despite a fragile ceasefire that had already been under severe pressure from both sides. U.S. officials also claimed multiple Iranian drones were intercepted and destroyed during the latest military operations in the region. Washington alleged the drones threatened both American military assets and commercial maritime traffic near the Strait of Hormuz. The overnight operation had not been publicly disclosed before anonymous officials confirmed details to Reuters on Wednesday. Trump insisted the Strait of Hormuz would remain open under continued American monitoring and military pressure against Iran. Notably, the United States already carried out what it called defensive strikes against Iran earlier this week. Iran accused Washington of repeatedly violating the fragile ceasefire through continued military operations and escalating regional attacks. Previous U.S. operations targeted suspected Iranian mine-laying boats and missile launch facilities near key maritime routes. CENTCOM claimed those earlier Iranian-linked targets threatened both U.S. military personnel and international shipping routes across the Gulf. Meanwhile, Iranian media reported 3 explosions near Bandar Abbas as tensions sharply escalated overnight across southern Iran. Iran activated its air defense systems for several minutes while authorities investigated the cause of the explosions near Bandar Abbas. Iran International's report said, and I quote, Iranian media reported that 3 explosions were heard east of the southern port city of Bandar Abbas at around 1:30 a.m. local time on Wednesday, adding that air defenses were activated for several minutes and that authorities are investigating the source of the sounds, unquote. U.S. officials claimed Iran launched 4 drones toward an American-linked ship near the Strait of Hormuz recently. According to Axios, U.S. forces intercepted and destroyed all 4 drones before they could strike their intended targets. The latest escalation came shortly after Trump declared that nobody would be allowed to control the Strait of Hormuz militarily. Trump made the remarks amid reports suggesting Iran and Oman were discussing a possible new framework governing Hormuz shipping routes.
Iran wants control of the Strait of Hormuz. Would you accept a short-term deal that allows Iran and Oman to control the strait? And would they have to open it immediately, or would you be open to that happening over a period of time?
No, the strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
Mr. President, thank you. How much economic pressure do you feel to get the Strait of Hormuz open?
Well, you have to understand, the United States has so much oil that we are an exporter of oil. So we have plenty of oil. We're very lucky. We're blessed with the greatest piece of land in the world from that standpoint, and we have more than anybody else. And now when you add Venezuela to it, we have, I think, 64% of the world's oil. And we're getting along very well with Venezuela, by the way. It's being run really beautifully. The big companies are moving in. It's going to be amazing because it's also, like us, they're very blessed in that sense. But we have natural energy that no other country has. We have more than anybody else. So it's really a world problem because most of the world doesn't have that. And we're making it available. During the closing, I don't know if you've seen some of the satellite pictures, boats, hundreds of boats lined up. It looks like, I used to say, the Long Island Expressway with the cars. They're lined up and they're coming to Texas, Louisiana, they're coming to Alaska to fill up their boat, their big boat. Some of them are really big, 2 billion gallons, even bigger than that now they make them. They make them up to 4, Chris, I hear. Now they make them up to 4. The 4 are now the big ones. Used to be the 1s. Now it's 4 million barrels of, think of that, 4 million barrels of oil in one boat. But they're lined up and they're right now heading to Texas, and they've already filled up and they've gone back. In addition to that, you have a lot of boats, you have about 1,500 boats in the strait wanting to get out, and at the right time we'll release them.
But the American people, sir, are seeing higher gas prices.
Yeah, they are.
It's come down a little bit, but it's still $4.
No, it's come down. Oh, it'll come down a lot. It'll come down to where it was before. We had it when I was in Iowa. We had we're driving by and we saw gas stations. $1.90 a gallon, $1.85, $1.87 were the 3 that we saw. We had it down in some places below. Now we can't help but California where they charge so much tax that you lower it and they charge tax. They've got to straighten the act out in California. But we had gasoline down to a very low number. I think we'll be hitting that number shortly after that whole excursion ends.
Does that give you more urgency?
But regardless of anything, as Marco said better than anybody can say it, you can't let them have a nuclear weapon. They would use it instantly. They wouldn't think about it. They would use it instantly. I've gotten to know them. They would use it instantly.
Does that give you more urgency, Mr. President? You've said that you're in no rush to make a deal, but with gas prices that are so high across the country, people are paying more for travel. Does that give you more urgency to make a deal? Why doesn't it?
Well, I'll tell you the primary urgency I have. I said this, it wasn't covered properly, but the primary urgency is that we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. But at the same time, we have a tremendous amount of oil, gas, coal. We have tremendous amounts of energy. We're blessed with something very special. Those prices are going to come down. They're going to come down fast. I think that you'll see, actually, Todd, I think you're going to see lower prices that we had even before we did this. Now, I knew there'd be an increase. I said, we have a choice. We don't have to do anything. And in 2 years or 1 year or 2 months, because Iran would have had if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks from that date, because they were ready to go. And if they had a nuclear weapon, it would have been used already. It also would have been used had I not terminated the Obama deal, the Iran nuclear deal, as we call it. That was in my first term. Had I not terminated that, they would have had a nuclear weapon a long time ago. I would say it was a guarantee that it would have been used, and it would have blown up Israel, it would have blown up the entire Middle East, and that's never going to happen.